We often hear that every human is unique, but some people are truly exceptional, standing out due to their extraordinary traits. Today, we're uncovering stories of people who simply refuse to fade into the background. From those with phenomenal abilities to individuals born with rare and weird medical conditions, here are the 15 most creepy circus freaks that actually existed. Number 15. The Three-Legged Man. Frank Lentini was born in 1889 with a total of 3 legs and 16 toes, thanks to an undeveloped conjoined twin fused to his spine. That extra limb, measuring 36 inches long, made him a living anatomical marvel. But Lentini didn't just lean on his condition. He leaned into performance. He could kick a football with his 3rd leg, ride a bicycle, and move with remarkable agility. At age 8, he was brought to the United States, where he met showman Vincenzo Magnano. Recognizing his stage presence, Magnano branded him the Three-Legged Wonder and took him on tour. Lentini's fame grew quickly, and by 21, he had saved enough to buy his family a farm. He eventually became a U.S. citizen, married, had 4 children, and lived a full, dignified life. He turned what could have been a life of mockery into one of skill, showmanship, and success, proving that uniqueness, when owned, becomes something super extraordinary. Number 14. Betty Lou Williams. At first glance, people thought they were witnessing a miracle, a woman who seemed to possess 2 lives in one body. Betty Lou became a sensation, not for an illusion, but for the rare parasitic twin that grew from her side. Born in 1932 in Georgia as Lily B. Williams, she was the youngest of 12 children, attached to a malformed sibling with legs, an arm, and faint traces of another limb. Her health was strong, but her condition drew endless fascination. Discovered as a baby by showman Dick Best, she was soon renamed Betty Lou and placed on display. At just 2 years old, she was earning $250 a week at Ripley's Believe It or Not. As she matured, her income soared to $1,000 weekly, enough to buy her parents a ranch and send all 11 siblings to college. Men adored her beauty and charm, though heartbreak followed. At 23, she died suddenly from an asthma attack, leaving behind a legend unmatched in sideshow history. Number 13. Lionol the Lionfaced Man. Well, have you ever heard of Stefan Bobrowski, better known as Lionol the Lionfaced Man? His life was as extraordinary as it was tragic. Born in 1890 in Poland, Stefan had hypertrichosis, a rare condition that caused thick, flowing hair to blanket his face and body, reaching up to 20 centimeters in length. The result gave him a lion-like appearance, which naturally became his stage name. His mother believed the disorder stemmed from witnessing a lion attack during pregnancy, a superstition, not science. Seeing him as a curse, she handed him over at age 4 to a German showman named Sedlmayr, who exhibited him across Europe and the US. But Lionol was far more than a spectacle. He was fluent in 5 languages, brilliant, and once dreamed of becoming a dentist. He spent years touring with Barnum and Bailey and became a mainstay at Coney Island. He eventually retired in the 1920s and died in Germany in 1932, leaving behind a life that was equal parts heartbreaking and awe-inspiring. Number 12. Rosa Matilda Richter. In 1877, a girl named Rosa stepped into a cannon, not as a stunt double, but as the very first human ever launched from one. Performing under the stage name Zazel, she was only 14 when she made history. The act wasn't a trick. A spring-loaded cannon propelled her through the air inside London's Royal Aquarium. She soared across the stage and landed in a net. No wires, no illusions, just nerve, momentum, and pure spectacle. Zazel's agility and petite frame made her ideal for the act, and she didn't stop after one flight. She toured with circuses across the globe, performing the stunt hundreds of times for roaring audiences. Nothing like it had ever existed. But the repeated landings eventually took a toll on her body, forcing her to retire. Even so, the sight of a young girl launched skyward became legendary. Zazel didn't just perform, she pioneered an entirely new genre of thrill entertainment, leaving audiences totally breathless. Number 11. Robert Wadlow. The people in these photos seem unreal, but real history holds even stranger legends. Robert Wadlow wasn't just tall, he was towering. At a jaw-dropping 8 feet 11 inches, he remains the tallest person in verified history. Born in 1918 in Alton, Illinois, his height didn't stand out at first. But by age 5, he was already towering over adults. His rapid growth came from gigantism, a condition where his pituitary gland flooded his body with growth hormone. By age 8, he wore adult clothes and met public figures. At 13, he loomed over his teachers. His shoes, custom-made and over 18 inches long. Despite his size, he was soft-spoken, gentle, and deeply kind. He loved photography, reading, and even became a Boy Scout with specially made gear. Though he needed leg braces and constant medical attention, Robert later toured with Ringling Brothers and worked with a shoe company, becoming a gentle icon, much like Sultan Kösen. Number 10. Jack Earl, the Gentle Giant. Jack Earl, born Jacob Reuben Ehrlich in Denver, was anything but ordinary. He had a condition known as acromegalic gigantism, which caused excessive growth, eventually towering over 8 feet tall, just like Sultan from Turkey. His commanding height caught the attention of both Hollywood and the circus world. He appeared in silent films, but truly found his spotlight with the Ringling Brothers, who billed him as the world's tallest man. Despite the grandeur, Jack was known for being soft-spoken, deeply kind, and incredibly thoughtful. He wasn't just a sideshow act, he was a poet, painter, and philosopher. After Ringling made Sarasota its winter base, Earl settled there, quickly becoming a respected figure in the Jewish community. He spent his later years involved in charitable causes, always extending a hand to those in need. Though health issues forced him into retirement in the 1940s, his impact never faded. Jack Earl wasn't just tall in stature, he stood even taller in spirit, integrity, and intellect. All right, now, let's move to number 9, Zorro Aga. Zorro didn't need to speak to turn heads. His very presence felt ancient. With sunken eyes, a flowing white beard, and a stare that seemed to pierce centuries, he claimed to be born in 1777 in Turkey and lived to 160 years old. Whether that number was real or a myth, the world couldn't look away. He said he'd met Napoleon, fought in wars, and kept traveling long after most give up walking. He didn't simply age, he embodied time itself. European and American newspapers ran his story. Photographs show a bony figure, lined with wrinkles, upright and full of life. Doctors studied him. Debates erupted. No one could confirm or debunk his story. But the image of someone that old, still alert and social, sparked global curiosity. Zorro didn't hide from fame. He embraced it, giving interviews, meeting celebrities, and proudly wearing his traditional robes. Whether 160 or simply ancient, Zorro's legend wasn't built on proof, it thrived on presence. Number 8. Leonard Trask. Leonard wasn't born to be stared at. He entered the world in 1805 in Maine and lived a normal, working-class life until a fall from a horse in his 20s changed everything. His spine was permanently damaged, and the condition only worsened. His back bent so severely he could no longer stand straight. His chin nearly touched his chest, and he had to move while fully hunched over. He couldn't work, couldn't lift his head, and lived in constant pain. Most would have vanished into poverty. Leonard did the opposite. He chronicled his ordeal, published a memoir, and posed for photos. His image circulated in newspapers, not from pity, but because his condition was so visibly extreme. People were shocked someone could function like that, let alone travel and promote himself. He became known as the Wonderful Invalid, turning his deformity into a symbol of grit. His rigid silhouette remains one of the most haunting medical portraits ever taken in the 19th century. Number 7. Raymond Greenman Robinson. Along the empty roads of western Pennsylvania, a lone figure used to roam through the night. His face barely resembled a human one. No eyes, no nose, a twisted mouth. Locals dubbed him the Green Man. Others knew him as Raymond. As a child, he touched a power line and was electrocuted by thousands of volts, leaving him severely disfigured. His facial features were obliterated. To avoid cruel stares, Raymond only walked at night, sometimes for miles, always alone. Teenagers caught glimpses and named him Charlie No-Face. Some said he glowed. Others claimed he wasn't real. But the truth was far simpler. Raymond was a man enduring devastating injuries, seeking solitude. Those who dared to approach him found he was kind, soft-spoken, and even funny. He enjoyed Coca-Cola and welcomed company. The legend painted him as a monster, but Raymond never became one. He was just a man, walking in the complete darkness, misunderstood by nearly everyone who saw him pass. Number 6. Ella Ewing. Ella Ewing was born in 1872 in Missouri and grew to a height of over 8 feet, making her one of the tallest women of her time. Diagnosed with gigantism, her rapid growth caused physical strain, but also made her a figure of fascination. Though her parents initially turned down offers from showmen, financial hardship led them to reconsider. At 18, she began performing in museums, fairs, and circuses as the Missouri Giantess. Unlike many performers, Ella exuded warmth, speaking gently and carrying herself with quiet dignity. She wore custom-tailored clothes and greeted guests politely, often standing for hours. With her earnings, she built a house suited to her size, complete with raised ceilings and oversized furniture. Though she never married and kept her personal life private, she lived with self-respect and independence. She passed away in 1913 due to complications from her condition. Ella's story isn't just about height, it's about resilience, grace, and dignity in the face of constant scrutiny. Number 5. The Green Children. They arrived out of nowhere. 2 children, green-skinned, dressed in unfamiliar fabric and speaking no known language, materialized in the 12th century England, right in the quiet village of Woolpit. Their story? They said they came from a world with no sun, just twilight. That was all they could share. The boy died shortly after, but the girl survived. As she learned English, she explained that they'd gotten lost underground and somehow emerged above. No one could confirm their origin, and no one had ever seen skin like theirs, deep green, unnatural. Some blamed illness. Others whispered about parallel worlds. Over time, their green color faded, but the mystery only deepened. Books, paintings, and even modern theorists still chase the truth behind the Green Children. They weren't ghosts. They weren't folktales. They were real, flesh and blood. And their existence, however brief, still challenges every explanation. In a world obsessed with logic, they remain a story no one can quite solve. All right now, let's head over to Number 4. Peter the Wild Boy. He didn't answer to a name. He didn't speak. He crawled on all fours and tore off his clothes. When hunters stumbled on him in the German woods in 1725, Peter looked more feral than human. Covered in dirt, barefoot, and surviving off raw vegetation, he wasn't raised in a home. His discovery spread like wildfire. The King of England had him brought to court, not for study, but for display. Peter became a mystery. Was he raised by animals? Had he escaped a cellar? No one could say. He learned a few words, but never a full sentence. Never gave an origin. Still, he fascinated everyone. Artists painted him. Aristocrats invited him to dinners. Everyone wanted a glimpse of the boy who didn't fit. His green eyes, wild hair, and twitchy hands became his signature. He lived into adulthood, pacing endlessly, always untamed. Experts now suspect Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. Peter never spoke his truth, but his silence still echoes louder than most voices. Number 3. Julia Gnusa. Julia wasn't just tattooed. She was art in motion. Known worldwide as the most tattooed woman alive, over 95% of her skin was saturated with vibrant ink. But her journey wasn't about attention. It was about taking back control. Diagnosed with a rare skin disorder that caused her to blister when exposed to sunlight, Julia chose tattoos not for shock, but for empowerment. Dragons, castles, movie scenes, even portraits, all inked across her body. Her skin became a living gallery of strength. She didn't flinch at stares. She leaned into them. Julia appeared in documentaries, TV shows, and Guinness World Records. Some questioned its authenticity, but every inch was intentional. Every design told a story. Her confidence didn't need volume, it radiated. Quiet, unshakable. Julia Gnusa wasn't just covered in color, she was layered in survival. Her tattoos weren't for display, they were declarations. Her body told a story in ink, not of pain, but of power. Would you have the nerve to wear your battles like that? Let us know. Number 2. General Tom Thumb. Charles Sherwood Stratton, known as General Tom Thumb, was born in 1838 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. He stopped growing at just 6 months old, eventually standing at 25 inches and weighing only 15 pounds. His petite stature caught the attention of P.T. Barnum, who discovered him at age 4 and crafted a stage persona inspired by English folklore. Under Barnum's wing, Stratton became an international sensation, performing for European royalty, including Queen Victoria, and meeting Abraham Lincoln. His charm lay in impersonations of figures like Napoleon and Cupid, combined with sharp wit and theatrical flair. In 1863, he married fellow performer Lavinia Warren in a wedding that turned into a national spectacle, with thousands flooding New York streets. Barnum ensured it was headline material. Despite his size, Stratton was a shrewd businessman, charismatic entertainer, and cultural icon. He wasn't simply part of the show, he helped define it. His legacy stands as one of the most enduring in circus history. Number 1. The Elephant Man. Joseph Merrick, known to history as the Elephant Man, was born in 1862 in Leicester and lived a life marked by severe deformities and quiet strength. Once thought to have neurofibromatosis, experts now believe he had Proteus syndrome, a rare disorder causing abnormal growth of skin, bone, and tissue. His head was massively enlarged, his limbs distorted, and his features asymmetrical. Rejected by his family and mocked by society, Merrick eventually ended up in a workhouse. In 1884, he was discovered by showman Tom Norman, who exhibited him under the name the Elephant Man. But Merrick was far from the monster tabloids suggested. He was articulate, intelligent, and deeply sensitive. He later found safety and dignity at London Hospital under Dr. Frederick Trevis, who became a close friend. In his final years, Merrick lived peacefully, treated as a human being rather than a spectacle. His legacy endures as a reminder of the courage it takes to exist in a world that cannot understand you. We hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.